Thanks for being here. Today I'm going to talk about shoulder internal rotation. Yeah, we do internal rotation all the time in life, and our shoulders are pretty much flexed and in internal rotation. However, in a yoga practice, it can be problematic when you don't have full access to it and you start to take the movement from somewhere else. Now, Gomukhasana is a classic example of one arm being up, flexion, external rotation, one arm slight extension, internal rotation, and then you're trying to clasp your hands behind your back. If you don't have that full range of motion and you can't get the clasp, people use a strap and think that that's the end of the pose, but if you see where my arms are, it's not the end of the pose, and you're never moving into the rest of the story or the rest of the sphere to complete the pose, and you don't have that connectivity and conductivity of energy that you have of that skin to skin and really making the contact. So if you've been studying with me or doing classes with me, you know I don't recommend a strap to just be complacent in the pose, but I do recommend a strap to help us open up a joint or get into the place where you can eventually go further and then you don't need it anymore. So in Gomukhasana, when you don't have the connection, and I'll show you on my harder side, and just so you know, whatever your dominant hand is will probably be the harder one for the internal rotation. This is our doing arm. So we're stronger here, and so you have more muscle, your muscle might be tighter. Also, it is the arm that might be stuck, translated forward. So that can be a place when the shoulder is forward, you have less room in that shoulder, specifically in one of the rotator cuff tendons, that you can then have things like impingement or bursitis or tendonitis. If you don't take care of it, it can eventually, God forbid, become a tear. So let's work that shoulder. How we're gonna do it. So if you're doing it in Gomukhasana here and you don't have a strap, or even if you have a strap, but you're kind of taking yourself off of the grid to get to the pose. And so even using a strap, my arm's out here, the other arm is here, and what will happen is, because this is tight, I'll stay stuck, translated forward, more internal rotation. This is not the pose. So how can we begin to? We want to hold the frame, head to tail on your spit, collarbones lifted out. So the front of the shoulders, same height, the back of the shoulder, you can think about the top of the scapula and the collarbones as being level to each other. So you're really in the middle, you have good posture, and you're able to breathe. So how to work the internal rotation for the bottom arm in Gomukhasana. You can take your strap, make a little cuff, call it my Wonder Woman bracelet. And so you take that, so you're gonna be working from the wrist, not the hand. You'll take that hand behind you, and you can think that I'm making the archetype or the structure of a coat hanger. Elbow out to its own side, collar run up and out to its own side, and the hand is in the middle. And so I will show you this from the back. So here's the frame. It's a nice frame, right? And what people do, especially with their working arm, their dominant hand, is they will overwork this. So the elbow will go back, which brings the head of the arm forward, and then the hand will be over here. Well, no wonder you can't reach it. It's not in the right position. So to work that internal rotation, you take the end, the strap is very long, up and over your shoulder. So it's almost like I have a sling, yeah? And so here I am. You can see the whole back of my hand. So I'm not doing anything funky, right? Which is also going to affect the head of the humerus here. The whole palm is facing back behind you. So the potential of the hand back, the potential of the chest front. And I'm just going to use the other arm and floss my shoulder. So I go up and down. The whole back of the palm is sliding up the back. And you're kind of like, oh, here I feel it, okay, and then I'm going to come out of it. And here I feel it, and I'm going to come out of it. I'm never dropping that shoulder or rotating it forward, okay? And so it just becomes a nice thing, just floss the shoulder. And eventually, you know, after doing this for a couple weeks, you're going to increase that range of motion pain-free. That's the goal, and that's also your guide. Because if you're working this and it's going into pain, chances are you're not staying in that framework, right? Something has fallen apart. But once you increase that range of motion, oh, suddenly your hand is where it needs to be for you to have that connection, that contact. And you only need a little bit of contact to start a conversation. So have a conversation with yourself, because your body is always giving you feedback.